Classic.
The Lenovo Miix 700 is a great and interesting new 2-in-1 laptop/tablet option that was added to the market fairly recently. It's a direct competitor to the Surface Pro 4 and quite frankly looks almost the exact same, minus a few little differences, kind of like the hinge that is a bit of a trademark from Lenovo. Now my particular model has the following specs. I've got the 4GB LPDDR3 1866MHz RAM, Intel Core M5 6Y54 1.10GHz processor, although it can turbo boost to 1.5, 128GB of SSD, a 1440p IPS display 12 inches, Intel HD graphics 515, 5MP camera in the front and the rear, a keyboard that comes with it, Windows 10 Home 64-bit, and this is all for $850. I got this through Amazon. Now the CPU, while decently powerful, it's not really meant for anything like video editing or heavy duty, I guess you could say, productivity work where you're going to be doing something in the creative field. Now, it's not the worst. I've tried it out. It's okay. Render times are pretty slow. You're definitely going to see some lag and choppiness. It compares most closely to, I believe, an i3-6300U or something along those lines, if not slightly weaker. On the bright side, since it's a Core M, it doesn't require a fan, and it is quiet, unlike the Surface Pro 4 where you're going to hear the fans kick up. In this particular case, you won't. So even when you're doing something heavy duty, it may heat up, but you're not going to hear the fans. Now on the left of it, you have the speaker at the very bottom, and on the top you have the USB 3.0 port. At the very top of the tablet, you have the headphone jack. On the right side of the tablet, you have your power button, your volume rocker, your mini HDMI, your USB 2.0 port, and the speakers on the right side as well. The kickstand is very sturdy. You're actually going to have to apply some force to open this up. You're not going to comfortably open it up with one finger. So the bright side with that is you don't have to worry about accidentally opening it up in your backpack or just by touching it, it's sliding out open. It's quite sturdy, and you have to apply a little bit of force when you're trying to open it further, which again, in my opinion, is a nice plus to this thing. The hinge is also very sturdy in general. It doesn't move easily once opened, and as an indication for when you close it, you'll hear a nice click like this. Now another thing to mention is that when you open the kickstand, there's a small little slot where you can put in a micro SD card to expand your storage. For example, for me, I put in a 64GB to expand the storage. And it's a nice little thing. If you get the 128GB, you get that extra storage just in case you need it for multimedia or anything along those lines. Now the keyboard is pretty decent. There's some okay space between the keys, so you're not going to be right up one another's alley. The moment you press one, you're not going to be worrying about pressing more than one button. One of my big complaints is the travel distance. It's not that great. I mean, I can't say that I expected something out of the ordinary, considering this is a very, very thin keyboard / cover. So I mean, for what it is, the travel distance is pretty decent. But for someone that really likes to feel what they're pressing, it might be a bit of a letdown. However, you will get used to it. Another thing to note is there's no backlighting. Unlike the Surface Pro 4 keyboard, there's no backlighting, so if you're the kind of person that likes to work in the dark, it might be a setback because you can't see the keys. Now if you can memorize the keys, that helps, but for the average person that likes to see what they're typing and just have visual of their keyboard, that is a downside to no backlighting. However, in the future, there will possibly be third-party keyboards that you can get for this that will have backlighting. Another thing is the trackpad. I actually really like the trackpad. The texture reminds me of the MacBook Pro trackpad, actually. So if you have a MacBook Pro or you've ever felt one, it actually feels very smooth, very clean, just like the MacBook. And some people have actually complained about it, but I actually think it's great. It's sensitive to the point where it feels what you're doing. I don't really experience lag with it. It just feels really on point. One of the better mouse trackpads I've actually used. Better than most laptops these days, in my honest opinion. It is a little bit smaller, but it's not too bad. And the click is solid. You can really feel what you're clicking. However, me personally, I just like to touch rather than click. And the last thing I'd like to mention is not often, I actually only experience this when attempting to play a few games, but for example the shift key, it might just be my particular keyboard, but it felt like it would get jammed every now and then. Nothing too serious, but just maybe it could have been the angle that I was pressing it at. So just something to note. Now, for those of you wondering if this thing can game, it can, but it's not at all a device meant for gaming. However, you can do some gaming. So I did benchmark a few games, not too many, but some of the more or less popular lower end, mid-end games. You will not be playing high-end AAAs on this, period. You're going to be getting ridiculously unplayable FPS. In fact, I tried out Borderlands 2, and even at like the lowest resolution and settings, I was getting very fluctuating 15, 20 FPS, but the stuttering was just unplayable. However, I did play games like Awesome Knots at 1440p high settings with 50 to 60 FPS on average. So if you lower that by one resolution, you could like to 1920, you can get that thing to run at 60 FPS steady on high settings. So that's pretty cool, and it's a competitive game. TF2 at 1440 average, at 900p averaged around 30 to 40 FPS, though it did drop to the 20s when it got to really heavy combat. CSGO was around 30 to 45. Unfortunately, my video was corrupted, but 30 to 45 FPS, lowest resolution and settings. Skyrim, 30 to 45 FPS on lowest settings. Rocket League, 30 to 40 FPS on low detail. So now you're just going to see some gameplay without me talking, just so you can get an idea of how well it runs. So again, you can game on this thing, but it really... you're going to be doing the lower end gaming, nothing too crazy. You can play things like Dota, Rocket League. But yeah, so hope you guys get that idea. Now the read and write speeds were decent. The write speeds were actually faster than most of the Surface Pro 4 write speeds that I've tested. However, the read speeds were slower, so it's kind of like a little back and forth trade-off between the two of them. However, again, pretty decent for what it is. Now, the touchscreen is pretty fluent, however it's not the most responsive, but that could also be due to the fact that I have a particular screen protector that I have not removed yet. However, for the most part, it's pretty fluent, feels great. Most of my gestures are read properly, and I personally do like it, and it's just nice to have the ability to either use your trackpad or use your own hand to just swipe through your internet browser, which is a nice little plus, especially for college students or people using this for productivity. Now, what it comes down to, in my opinion, if I recommend it or not, I'd say yes, I do recommend this thing, especially if you're a student and you're looking for something that's portable and powerful. Overall, I'm going to tell you some of the pros and cons in my overview. So I mean, pro is price performance. You're going to pay a lot more for a Surface Pro 3 and 4. Even if they're slightly better, you're going to pay hundreds of dollars extra. On top of that, you're going to have to buy the pen separately, you're going to have to buy the keyboard separately. Another pro is the size and weight of this thing. I believe with the keyboard it's like 2 pounds or something along those lines, which is not bad at all. And another pro is that the keyboard is included. Some of the cons: the keyboard is not backlit. The keyboard travel distance when you press a button, not the greatest, and that the pen doesn't come with every model. Unfortunately, my model did not come with a pen, which is why it's not included in this review. So yeah, I can't say that I have too many cons with this thing. Overall, for what you get with the price, it is a solid deal. So I definitely recommend getting this thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have Any questions, please feel free to comment down in the section below, and subscribe, because I will definitely be doing more of these types of reviews in the future. And yeah, just keep up with my channel that way. Thank you guys for watching.